Officially, Dunkirk police are not confirming the body is Jeffrey Bull. Tomorrow, an autopsy is scheduled at the Erie County, New York Medical Examiner's Office in Buffalo. Well, traffic is moving again tonight on the Conrail Railroad tracks in Harbor Creek Township. We have more from Eric Johnson.
The familiar sound of a Conrail freight train in Erie is back tonight. Conrail resumed runs through Erie after 16 cars and one engine of last night's wrecked train were removed from the tracks in Harbor Creek Township early tonight. Conrail used heavy equipment throughout the day to remove the cars, filled with new automobiles and trucks from the Chrysler Corporation. Conrail officials say they think the derailment was caused when a wheel of the second freight engine locked, causing it to uncouple from the lead engine and then leave the tracks. The other 16 cars followed the engine. Conrail crews are still at the scene of the accident this evening, where work to open a second set of tracks is still underway. Conrail has been using the Norfolk and Western tracks as an alternate route through the accident scene. The N&W line located south of the Conrail line. The eastbound set of Conrail tracks should be open by early tomorrow morning. It's not known what Conrail will do with the wrecked automobiles, whether a salvage company will purchase the wreck or if the cars will be returned to the Chrysler Corporation. Eric Johnson, Action News at 11.
The flood threat in northwestern Pennsylvania has eased this evening with the lack of rain and colder weather. Troublesome ice jams remain on French Creek between Meadville and Sagertown and along the Conowongo River near Warren. River forecasters are still concerned about the ice, but the colder weather should keep the runoff of melting snow and ice in check for the next few days. State police at Girard say there's no immediate problem with Elk Creek except ice at the mouth of the creek. French Creek at the Meadville flood gauge is about 5 feet below flood stage and no threat to the city of Meadville at the present time. In Washington today, the Clinton administration was declaring the NATO ultimatum to Bosnia Serbs a success, but said it was clearly only a first step to peace. Lisa Stark reports.
The fragile peace continues in Sarajevo. So does the threat of airstrikes.
Any shelling of Sarajevo or the appearance of heavy weapons in the exclusion zone will bring a certain and swift response from the UN and NATO.
Mr. Clinton, who met earlier with his national security team, said the warring factions have turned over more than 250 heavy weapons to the United Nations.
The main thing we need to do now is to build on this and figure out how we can use it to make a permanent peace.
But even as the UN forces patrol the hills around Sarajevo to ensure calm, fighting rages in other cities in Bosnia, and there is concern that Serb weapons are being transferred from Sarajevo to those areas. Still, the administration seems reluctant to extend NATO's airstrike ultimatum to other parts of the country.
This is only the first day of the success in Sarajevo. We have to make sure that this is something that will hold before we push any further.
NATO planes flew 150 sorties over Sarajevo Monday to keep the pressure on.
Compliance is a continuous act. It is not something done for 24 hours and then ignored.
On the diplomatic front, Secretary of State Warren Christopher met with the Bosnian Prime Minister, who said it is time for the suffering to end.
In order to come to peace, we are ready to compromise. But we are not ready to capitulate.
The Sarajevo ceasefire is a foreign policy victory for the president, who must now move from confrontation to negotiation. Representatives of the U.S., its NATO allies, and Russia will meet in Bonn on Tuesday to try to move the peace process forward. Lisa Stark, ABC News, the White House.
Members of the Mill Creek Township Taxpayers Organization attended this evening's Mill Creek School Board meeting, calling for the board to be more open with the public.
If you follow an agenda, most of the time you don't even know where they're at. And what you're looking to do is try to find out what things they're voting on, and they're bypassed already. Before you know it, the issue has been voted on and has passed. What they do then is they allow the citizens to speak last. Once they get through the whole agenda, then they ask for the citizens' input on that, which is counterproductive.
That was Ken Carney of the Mill Creek Citizens Action Committee. Also at the meeting, a planner hired by the district to study student enrollment said the area covering Ridgefield, Tracy, and Vernondale elementary schools is currently overcrowded. Dr. Robert Ingram advised the board to go ahead with plans to replace the outdated Tracy School. He also said in addition to Asbury Elementary School should be built by the year 2000. The Wattsburg School District officially opens its new middle school tomorrow beside the Seneca High School complex.
I think the most special thing about the building is that the technology that we have available for students. It's been something we've been working on now for 3 years, but it's just a very nice building for the kids, very flexible, and it provides a lot of different options for teachers as far as teaching is concerned.
In order to get the building ready, school staff coordinators have been working 12 hours each day to move in equipment. A young Erie boy was diagnosed with an adult form of leukemia less than a year ago. His family is searching for donors for a bone marrow transplant, but the odds are against them finding one. Wednesday, little Mikey Ettinger will go to Disney World as guest of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. We have more from Teresa Mertland.
And you lift your hand up.
You lift your hands up?
Yeah.
Meet Mikey Ettinger, a spunky little boy full of life and love when he's not going through chemotherapy. Today, he's excited about his trip to Disney World.
Goofy.
Goofy? Is that your favorite?
And we're gonna go right in the water's milk. Right there. We're gonna go right there.
Mikey has an adult version of leukemia. He has been treated with a bone marrow transplant. His own bone marrow was harvested, radiated, and transplanted back into his own system. That has failed.
The next step is a bone marrow donation, but so far no one in his family, including 3-month-old sister Alexis, has matching marrow. In fact, the odds of finding a match are 1 in 20,000. Recognizing the growing need for this type of transplant, St. Vincent Health Center was able to get funding to screen 1,000 potential bone marrow donors to help Mikey and others like him. That screening is set for March 10th and is a simple blood test. The donation process, we're told, is a 1-day procedure with a short recovery period.
Your own bone marrow replenishes itself within a couple of weeks. So it's simply a matter of giving something that you can replenish within your own system to someone that desperately needs it.
Well, right now his condition is pretty stable. He is, thank God, back into remission once again. And it is an emergency because with AML they can relapse fairly quickly.
For now, Mikey is hanging in there, capturing the hearts of all he meets.
Can we sing a song?
No.
What song do you know?
Barney?
Do you know Barney? I know Barney.
Yeah.
How's it go?
I love you.
Do it again. How's it go?
I love you.
Teresa Mertland, Action News at 11.
Summit Township supervisors met this evening to review plans for more development along Upper Peach Street. Paperwork must still be reviewed by engineers for development of a new Walmart store, a movie theater with multiple screens, a Taco Bell, a Scott's Family Restaurant, and a Lowe's Home Center store. Besides those establishments, other commercial ventures will be constructed on land on the east side of Peach from the Wakeman store south to Interstate 90. Supervisors also requested more information with regard to a sports complex on Oliver Road where various road changes will take place. Well, Disney is determined not to abandon its Euro Disney Park in France despite monumental losses. Harley Hotchkiss has tonight's business brief.
1 month after it announced plans to take over 80% of Britain's Rover Group, BMW has reached an agreement to buy the other 20% too. That portion of the company is currently owned by Honda, but experts say Honda and Rover will continue their long-term production agreements, at least for now.
I don't believe it would be in Honda's interest at the moment to pull the plug completely on Rover. The reason for that is that they stand to gain a lot out of the commercial relationship.
Auditors have submitted a long-awaited report on Euro Disney. Bankers will use the report as they try to figure out the future of the money-losing theme park. The U.S. Justice Department is investigating companies that operate ATM networks. The probe centers on whether banks that want to join the networks are pressured to buy additional services. U.S. financial markets were closed because of President's Day. With today's Business Brief, I'm Harley Hotchkiss.
The Oil City-based Quaker State Corporation will change its famous oil can and advertising labels. The Quaker State logo always was identified with a name inside the large Q. It has never been substantially changed. Now the company will place the Q above a series of red and gold lines. Quaker State says it's taking more effort to let people know the Q stands for quality, and the company will place more green colors on its products, which will stand for its concern about the environment. For example, its fast lube centers will be collection points for motor oil recycling. Ready for AccuWeather. If you enjoy the warm weather, it's gone for a while.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed springtime. Anyway, now we got a little snow back in the forecast. We haven't had snow. We really haven't had any snow in a while.
Oh, I know. Let's not worry about that too much. They were calling this mock spring.
Mock spring.
Yes.
Good point. Just to see how we relate to it.
Yeah.
How we get
we
along.
related, and now it's going to snow again.
Okay. Anyway, we got some sun tomorrow, though. Not a warmth, but the sun still with us. So we'll take a look at our forecast, which includes a little snow, in a moment. Good evening. Nice to be with you, and thank you for joining us this evening. I hope your day was a good one. Got a little sunshine coming up tomorrow, and not a whole lot of warmth before we get back into potentially a little snow and ice in the forecast we'll talk about in just a moment. Take a look at how we did today. Kirk Manson with our action cam out and about tonight found a little bit of snow that hasn't melted away. There is a little bit out there, right? 62 degrees in 1953, record high, -1. 1968, the record low. How'd we do today? 41 degrees was our high temperature. We recorded that around midnight. 35 is normal. Last year we had 38. Our low temperature for today is the current temperature of 29 degrees with a wind chill factor. We're at 15. The normal is 19. Last year we had a low of 13 degrees. 30, 34 and rising our barometer, 81% humidity. Winds northwest clocked at about 10 miles per hour. We did pick up a tenth of an inch, or excuse me, 1/100th of an inch of precipitation in the form of some light drizzle today. Air quality 25, which is good. As we take a look at our radar, 100-mile scan from the National Weather Service at Erie International, we find no precipitation in the tri-state area for tonight. We'll stay on the dry side. Most of the drizzle has moved out of the way, although some of the inland areas might still be seeing a little bit of drizzle, but that'll be short-lived as drying and cooler air moves into the area later tonight. Take a look at our temperatures right now. We're 29, 30 and 31 in Conneaut, 30 Ashtabula, 31 Youngstown, 29 Franklin, 29 in Meadville, 25 Jamestown, New York, 30 in Corry, 28 in Warren, 28 in Titusville, 29 Oil City, 34 degrees out of Pittsburgh this hour. We show two systems here. First of all, here's the front that moved through the area earlier today and brought a little bit of drizzle, now continuing to push off towards the east coast. Another batch of precipitation, another storm coming up through Texas and into the Plain States. We'll see some of this, which includes some snow as we head through the next 36 to 48 hours. Take a look at our map for you now and find out what we're in store for. Basically, the first front's through, got another little front coming through later tonight. There could be just a smidgen of a flurry in some areas. Most of that would be to the north, however, maybe up across parts of western New York. The high pressure will build in tomorrow. It brings with it a dome of cold air, but it'll also bring some sunshine for most of the day. And then ahead of the next system, some clouds move in later tomorrow afternoon. So we start with a sunny day, increasing clouds later in the day. Our highs or lows tonight, are going to be dropping into the 20s. Then for tomorrow, you can see the low pressure moving through Missouri towards Kentucky, pushing a band of moisture up in front of it here. Nearer the front, there is some rain, but look at the ice and the snow back here, which is kind of making its way right into the lakeshore region. We expect probably by late tomorrow night and into the first part of Wednesday to see some snow in our area mixed in with a little bit of ice. As you head to the south, that should be in the form of some rain. Temperatures tomorrow, again, although we have sunny skies, only 32 degrees for a high. The forecast in just a moment. Here's our exclusive AccuWeather forecast for the next couple of days. Overnight, it's going to be clearing skies and colder, down around 24 for 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Mostly sunny, brisk and chilly, and 25 for tomorrow afternoon. Sunshine with some clouds increasing late in the day and a high tomorrow about 32. The extended forecast Wednesday is going to be windy with snow and ice, perhaps changing to some rain late in the day. High of 34. Mostly cloudy, a few flurries on Thursday, 30. Invariably cloudy, brisk, cold, maybe some snow or flurries possible on Friday, with a high only about 27 degrees compared to that 60-degree plus we had a couple of days ago. That looks cold.
But, you know, it's all right. It's still February, and at least we got rid of what we had.
Yeah, really. Now we can start all over.
Okay. Thanks, Joe. An Erie doctor honored. That story when we come back.
I'm Chris Wallace. Coming up on Nightline, all quiet in Sarajevo. Is this a phony truce that will just bring the U.S. into the conflict? Or has the world possibly stumbled onto a formula for peace? Tonight.
The Boys and Girls Club of Erie presented their annual John L. Robinson Humanitarian Award this evening at the Avalon Hotel. This year's recipient was Erie orthopedic surgeon Dr. Richard Ronner.
I think receiving this award from the Boys Club and the Girls Club is very important. When I was a kid, we played on the streets, and the streets would be our playground. Now the streets are a way of life, and I think the Boys and Girls Club of Erie take the kids off the street and give them a better way of life.
The award is given annually to community leaders who have demonstrated exemplary service on behalf of the youth of Erie. Rayner has been active with many schools and community organizations, including McDowell and Cathedral Prep High Schools, along with Harbor Creek Youth Services. And we're set for sports. Here's John Evans. John?
Dr. Rayner, often a guy you see on the sidelines of football games around the area.
He's a sports fan.
He's everywhere.
Okay.
We've got some sports to talk about. Gannon Hoops, the night shooting for their 6th straight win tonight, hosting Slippery Rock at the Hammermill Center. We've got to look at some of the highlights to show you. Bob Duquette certainly intense in this one. Gannon's Todd Stabline responds, going to James Clark. He hits the turnaround for 2 of his team-high 13 points on the night. But Slippery Rock could bring with them the range from the outside. Here it's Dennis Green hitting from the corner for 3. The Rock hit 5 of 9 from Treyland in the first half. 38-29, Slippery Rock over Gannon at halftime. Gannon stays within reach, though. Keith Danzy gets the ball inside to Kevin Cry. He drives it, hits. Gannon's back into this one. The Knights would get within 4 with 6 minutes to go, but the Rock then turns it on. Watch Dennis Green doing his part of the damage on Gannon, driving and knocking down the 6-footer. Then Slippery Rock forces the turnover, and again it's Green taking it all the way, laying it in with the left hand. He led everybody on the night with 21 as Gannon falls to Slippery Rock 70-62. The Knights now 18-7 on the season. Several weeks ago, we reported that former McDowell football coach Joe Sanford was being recruited by officials at Seneca High School. Well, tonight Sanford was named the Bobcats' new coach at a meeting of the Wattsburg School District. Jet TV's Mike Gallagher was there.
Gibbons. All right, come here. You're in the game. Listen. You got to get in, brother.
Squeeze it down. How close are we down there?
McDowell assistant football coach Joe Sanford officially entered the ranks of head coaching status tonight when the Wattsburg School Board voted to hire him as their new head coach.
You know, they had a need for a head coach, and I had a desire to be one again, and I'm just happy that we could hook up.
He's intense, there's no doubt about it, and I think at this point in time we need somebody who has that kind of a, that intensity to bring our football program around.
Sanford will continue to teach at McDowell and to coach the Trojans track team.
Well, I certainly wouldn't have taken the job out there had I not been able to do both. I don't see any conflicts whatsoever.
In recent years, the Bobcats have struggled in the Erie County League, and they hope that Joe Sanford is their answer to turning the program around.
But nobody likes to succeed and win more than I do, and certainly that's going to be one of the prime goals, is to get out there and turn that around, because I think they have a lot of ability, and the kids seem like great kids. I met a couple of them just in passing, but it's not going to be without its share of hard work and sacrifice. And
I'm Mike Gallagher, Action Sports at 11.
And when we come back, a report on today's action at the Winter Olympics.